Okay, everyone, welcome to my jam session. I'm Jiao, and we've been talking about the different changes in the 24 solar terms. And we do this once a week, and we're moving steadily through. Now we're at the fall season, and this area of the season we call Chù Shǔ. Chù Shǔ, actually this period starts to now end what we call the hot summer, which starts in an earlier period we call the autumn tiger. And this is where we go from the summer period into the beginning of fall. And it doesn't start to get cooler. In actuality, it starts to get hotter. And as it gets hotter, we now start to move steadily into what would be the hottest period, or one of the hottest periods on the 24 solar cycle. This is 24 solar cycle 14, and we're moving steadily into that period, or say this period. So let's start talking about the period we call, like I said, Chù Shǔ. These periods, as we move through, we begin to see a particular energetic trend. So the first part of fall we call Li Chu. This is the actual start of autumn on the Chinese calendar. And then we move to Chù Shǔ as the heat starts to now gradually heat up and then begin to lessen. And then we're going to be talking about Bai Lu later on, which is the falling of the dew period. So if you take a look at this chart, we started, like I said, that period of the autumn tiger, or the hottest period in fall, on August 7th. We just ended earlier this week that period and started a period of Chù Shǔ, and we're going to be now moving steadily through this cycle to the end, which is September 6th and September 7th. And then you'll start to see the smatterings of temperature changes and what people will start to, in the West, look as the fall. So why on the particular weather reports, they'll say, oh, it's getting so hot, these are periods of climate change. Well, yeah, we agree that it's climate change in Chinese cosmology, because for the last 6,000 years, it's always been the period of the autumn tiger. It's always been this hot time of the year. In different parts of the 60-year calendar cycle, it will be slightly hotter, slightly colder, but this period is always the hottest period of the year. So you're always going to see that in these particular changes throughout the year in the different cycles. Now remember, with the Chinese calendar, this is a 10,000 year cycle. So in that 10,000 years with 60-year increments, you see all kinds of cycles repeat. And if you went to some of my earlier discussions, we talked about this being the year of the white ox, where things are going to be more tumultuous, where we have to work. The ox is a very strong animal, and white is symbolizing things like snow. So this means that this year is going to be a year where we're working hard, we're preparing ourselves for the coming harvest. So we had the year prior to that, which is the silver rat, which is disease and pestilence. Sound familiar? So disease and pestilence, now we're now coming off of that cycle, going into working hard through that, and then we'll have the cycle that's coming up, which is the sky tiger. But I say all of it to say that as we're moving through each of these 24 solar cycles throughout the year, we now will transition to each of these particular periods, and then we can now take this information and prepare. We don't have to sit idly by and wait for these cycles to now change us. We can now change ourselves, allow the external environment to change, and we can change it with the internal environment by utilizing the 4 energies, sunlight, oxygen, and water, and then now also using food. And what kind of food? I always talk about fruits, because that's universal to all body types. So if you're a yang type or a yin type, like last week, we talked about loquat and grapes. So yang types, this time we're going to be talking about the kumquat. The kumquat. And the kumquat is a citrusy type fruit that's very small, and you can use it in a lot of different dishes or make it into like a aid, like a limeade, lemonade, or what have you, and then use it to now make it in other different types of food dishes to now create harmony in your body, because the functions or the actions of this particular food is to circulate the qi. And when we say clear, damp, it means that if you're producing anything heavy, sluggish, like what? Excess weight, or expectorant, like when you're coughing and you have sputum, then you can use this to now do what? If you're a yang type, it'll now actually circulate your energy in your body, promote better circulation for yourself, and do what? Help you help yourself. So as you begin to see that, with that, we can also use pineapple. And pineapple now is for the yin types. We have the yang type and the yin type. So pineapple we can use, which is also a citrusy type fruit. And we can make that into different dishes, whether we grill it or whether we use it into juice. This one can aid the digestion, help if you're having any type of digestive issues and that's producing the effect of diarrhea. We can now regulate the digestion and stop the diarrhea. And then when this says dispel summer heat, we're using that as a classification as intense heat. So the period of the autumn tiger is still that period of high heat that we can use to cool ourselves down with pineapple juice. So then now, one of the things that we always caution about in Chinese medicine is that that pineapple is very strong and enzymatic fruit. So because of that, we like to now steam it or cook it just for about 5 to 10 minutes, and it actually eliminates the toxic effects or the strong effects of this particular fruit, and then now your body won't have such a reaction to it. So these are the 2 fruits that we're going to be going over today.